Hello, welcome back. This is another Digital Adventures Let's Build. Today we are going to be doing something extra special. We're going to be creating the most explosive platformer game you could ever make. So the way this game is going to work is we will have a normal platformer game, just like this. I think you've seen Scratch games like this before, but instead of controlling our character with the keyboard, we're gonna create explosions to try and get them to the goal. Let's get started. I have an explosion sprite here, just, a nice little explosion drawing with the line tool, and we are going to create one of these every time I click. So it will look like we can click explosions on our screen to make the most explosive game ever made. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do, since the explosion we want to make it big and have like a lot of these explosion sprites, I want to do something called make a block down here in my blocks, make a block, and I'm just going to call it explode. Now one special thing I'm going to do that a lot of people have been mentioning is you can use run without screen refresh. Now this will be great because when my explosions are made, I want them to all appear at once, and if you don't use this, if you have this unchecked, what will happen is they'll all come out like one at a time, but if you check that, they'll basically all appear instantly. So all my explode script is going to do is create 10 clones. Now instead of just dragging 10 in there, I could say repeat 10. That'll create 10 of them. And now let's get to programming this explosion. When green flag clicked, of course, at the beginning I always like to hide my original sprite, and then forever and ever, as long as this game is going, we're going to make sure that the explosions always come up to the front. They go to the front of the layer, and then if we click a button, if we click our mouse button, basically if the mouse is down, we want to explode. Now that just creates 10 currently hidden sprites, or clones of this sprite. But what we also want to do is kind of create a delay so that we can't create a billion explosions, because that might break the game. So we're going to do a little bit of a delay with a wait 0.2 seconds is fine. You could do a shorter one if you want. And right before that, we're also going to broadcast a message, because later on we want this character here, my Nano robot, to know that an explosion has occurred, so he knows what to do. So broadcast explosion. Great. Moving on, what are these clones going to do? Well, when they start as clones, they're just going to basically be visual effects. So of course we need them to show. They're not going to interact with anything really. They're going to go to our mouse pointer. Oh no. Where's go to mouse pointer? It's in motion. Found it, of course. Go to mouse pointer. Each of them will be a different size because we want explosions are pretty random, so I like to have a lot of random, pick random operators in there. So I can say something along the lines of set size 2, and then pick random, and we're going to say 5 to 50. You can change this however you'd like. Right now it's creating explosions, but they don't do anything, so we want to make them actually explode. Now the next thing for this starting code for an explosion, they will show up at the mouse pointer, they get a random size, and I also want them to point in a random direction, because I right clicked here, duplicate, that's a little shortcut. 0 to 360 is a full circle, so it'll appear in any direction. If you want to be super fancy, you would say 359, because technically 360 is the same as 0 in point and direction. And now they'll point in random directions. You can see all of them are kind of stacking and they all look kind of random. These explosions look pretty cool. So we're gonna move on. And we're gonna make these explosions actually move and get bigger and stuff like that. So repeat 10. So it's basically 10 frames of an animation. 10, it's gonna move 5 steps. Let's check that out, pretty cool. But we need them to disappear. We're gonna say, we're gonna go to looks and change its size so they get bigger over time. And then lastly, we're going to use something called ghost and change ghost effect by 10, because if you change its ghost to 100, it means it's fully invisible. So if it starts at 0 and then 10 times 10 equals 100, and it will fade away just like that. And last, it will delete the clone. So after it's done getting bigger and fading away, we're going to delete it like that. Perfect. These are the explosions, and each one is slightly different. There's more stuff you can do to make these more random, and you can try that by remixing this project in the description below if you would like to. Okay, the explosions are made. They're amazing, of course. Now our Nano, he's gonna have just a ton of code. Not a ton, you know, more than what we usually do. The first thing I want to get done though is his setup. I want Nano to always start in this corner at every level. So in the beginning of the game, I'm gonna make it go to -220 and -100. So that's a good spot. And now obviously he'll fall down and land on this eventually, but I like him to float a little bit. Next, well, I already have him here. Well, let's just delete him, bring him back. We're gonna create the variables for controlling this sprite only. X speed and Y speed. These will control the speed for moving left and right, which is X, and up and down, which is Y. So we'll be able to control its speed when the Nano happens to get hit by an explosion. We want it to move with some physics, so we're using X speed and Y speed. Now, since at the start of a game, you probably want your character to not be moving, so we're going to set their X and Y speed to 0. When we test later, we might change these numbers to try some stuff out. Next, he needs to fall. Forever. Change Y speed by -1. Then, in another block of code running simultaneously, we can say if we're touching one of these black platforms, I want the Y speed to reset back to 0 so that he doesn't keep falling. Basically like a ground. So we'll need a forever loop, which is right there. Perfect. Forever. And we'll use change Y position, change Y by, and we're going to grab the Y speed, and you'll see he falls, but we're going to fix that so he lands on this platform by saying if we are touching a color, we're going to switch that color by using the color picker and clicking on the black. You can also go to 0, 0, 0, I guess, if you know it's black. If you're touching the black color, change Y by the reverse. So we need to reverse the Y speed by saying, there's two ways to do it. Well, best way to do it is multiplying. You multiply the Y speed by -1. So it'll move down, but if it happens to be hitting this, it'll push it back up. Just like that. That's nice. Whoa, wait a second. Oh, you probably jumped through. That makes sense. Because we did not reset the X speed and Y speed back to 0. So every time he lands, he'll get planted on the ground. Perfect. We did it. Oh no, I can't drag him around really. Okay, perfect. So we have our little gravity code blocks completed. Next, what I'm going to do is create the code for what happens when an explosion occurs. And we use that broadcast from earlier. So let's go in here and grab when I receive, where is it? Or is it? There it is. When I receive explosion. So this one will be a little bit tougher. But every time an explosion occurs, the closer we are to Nano, the farther we want Nano to fly. So if our mouse pointer is farther away, it'll make an explosion and affect Nano a little bit. But if it's right on top, it should blast them across the screen. Now, we're going to need to use a little bit of math here. There's a couple sensing code blocks that'll help us. But all of it really relies on the distance to the mouse pointer. If we're really far away and we click, I don't want Nano to be affected at all. So we're going to put an if statement around that, the whole thing that says if the distance to, where's distance to? I can never find this one. Someone pointed out for me. I'm just kidding. The distance to mouse pointer, if it's greater than 200, or, well, no, I need to reverse it. I don't like to use, I like to always have the number on the right side. So if the distance is less than 200, it will activate code underneath, otherwise it just will ignore everything. So let's get the up and down movement for the explosion first, and that's we're going to use an if-else block because you can either be above when you explode or below, and so we're going to divide those parts with an if-else. To check if we are above or below, we can use an operator, a couple operator blocks, and we're going to say if the mouse Y position minus the Y position of the character, so if the mouse Y minus the Y position is greater than 0, which will mean if your mouse pointer is above, basically, if you're above the character, we're going to run whatever code's in here. Otherwise, you run whatever's in here. So we need to set that Y speed. Set the Y speed to, and we're going to do some fancy math here for calculating the explosion based on distance. And we're going to need a minus and a division. And the distance code block. Where are you? Distance to mouse pointer. We're going to say 0 minus 250 divided by the mouse pointer. Now it's not going to quite work for moving downward because we're stuck on this platform. But to move upwards, we're going to place another one in here and simply remove the 0. And that is how we do it. All right, now you can see when I click, he moves up. If I'm close, he explodes really high. And obviously, if I'm farther away, it doesn't do as much, as you can see. But if you're right on target, oh my goodness, that is quite the explosion. And you can adjust this number. The higher the number, the higher he will move for explosions. So you can adjust that all you want. Now for the left and right movement, it is nearly the same code. So I'm duplicating this if-else and placing it within this other if here. And we are just swapping out the mouse Y with the mouse X and the X position, or Y position with the X position. Now, left and right movement, I don't want it to be that far, so we're going to switch these numbers to 100. And of course, I need to change this back to X speed. There you go. Okay. Let's check it out. Let's check out these explosions. So we have an issue here. If we hit a wall, he's not bouncing. He gets stuck, and we can't really get him off the wall. So we need to write code for him to bounce off the wall. That can be done in here. I'm going to do it right in here. In that first block we did. I'm going to create all of the bouncing off of walls. So, control if, we're going to do 3 of these if statements. Let's start with one and I'll probably copy them because that's easiest. If our X position is greater than, what do we got? Let's say 235 because that is about the edge. And if you do 240 sometime, which is the edge, sometimes your character doesn't quite make it there and it won't actually bounce. So I like to do this. I like to also nudge them off the wall a bit when they hit a wall. So I'll do -10 and I'll set their X speed to X speed times -0.5 because that means they'll bounce off the wall with half the speed reversed. So the minus makes it reverse and then 0.5 is half. So it'll have half the speed. And the last step is a very important one to prevent glitching. We're going to use a wait until we are not, and then I'll duplicate this. So you're going to basically make sure that you have cleared the wall when you bounce before you allow another collision to occur. Let's try it out. Let's get over there. What are you doing? Go. Go. Here we go. Perfect. He's kind of gliding down there, but we're gonna, make him reset when he reaches that anyways. Let's do the left side. So duplicate. And we're gonna flip this sign. So we're gonna say less than instead of greater than. If X position is less than -235, which is the left side, we change X by 10, not -10. This stays the same because if you're moving negative and you multiply by a negative, it'll move it to the right, which is positive. And then we're going to wait until not this is done occurring. We're going to wait until we've cleared the left side. That's what this is saying. And yep, you're bouncing off that side. Go, go, go. Oh, geez. Okay, let's see. There, perfect. Okay, last thing is this floor that you're gliding on. Let's just get rid of that completely. We are going to use this if statement. If something is less than -170 is fine. 180 is the bottom, but I like to give ourselves a little bit of space. If the Y position is less than 170, let's reset the game, basically. It's very lazy of me to duplicate the whole block and do this, but I think it's faster. And I just want these 3 blocks, which are kind of the starting blocks for the character. And let's go ahead and fall off. There we go, reset for me. It's exactly what I wanted. Okay, how do I beat a level? I'm going to use a pretty simple way to do this. I'm going to use color. If I touch the blue, go to the next backdrop. And I have multiple backdrops of levels, and we're going to see if I can beat it. I hope I do. So let's do that code. Since I have one color touching block in here, I'll do another one, but this time I'll use it for blue. And I will say some different things. We're going to do a classical reset here. Grab these code blocks, throw them in there. But we're also going to go ahead and change the backdrop. Switch, or next backdrop, of course. So next backdrop, and then, reset the character. So the start of my level has to be here, and then my finish is always going to be my, my blue star. So that is how we create the most explosive Scratch game of all time. Let's check it out. Actually, let's make this prettier. We're going to get rid of these 2 variables. Okay. Let's go, Nano. That was the first. Oh no, this is chaos. Go. No. Okay. I get 30 lives. Oh no. If you get stuck in. Oh no. All right, we're gonna go for a big jump here. Big jump. I knew that would work. I knew it. This one looks like I have to aim pretty good. back at the beginning, I guess. Oh, what a jump. That was, oh no. Ah, man, I got lucky. All right, next one. Oh no. There we go. Okay. Get over it. That was perfect. Let's get there. Oh no! I got knocked through the bottom. Gotta be careful with that. No, stop it. Oh no. Okay. No, that's not enough. Not nearly enough. Okay. No, don't jump. Okay. Last level, my level 4. I encourage all of you to remix this so that you can make more levels very easily. Just draw some black lines and a blue star. Oh no, yes, I avoided the canyon of doom. Okay, well that was, this is the most explosive game I've ever played. So go ahead, try to make this, try to remix it. And of course, you can go to digitaladventures.com. There's more featured games by students. And yeah, happy coding. Goodbye.